Alright, let's dive in. What are stem cells, what do they do in medicine, and why are they important in our lives? Stem cells are cells that can renew themselves an unlimited number of times and produce cells that become a part of a healthy animal. The term stem cells acts as an umbrella term for various types of cells. There is a ladder of specialization with stem cells where the developmental potency is reduced with each step. Developmental potency is just a fancy way of saying how much this cell can differentiate. Before we get into this ladder analogy, I should introduce you to something called a germ layer. A germ layer is a primary layer formed by a group of cells that will interact with one another very early in the life of an organism. There are 3 germ layers that can be formed: the endoderm, which is the inner layer, the ectoderm, which is the outer layer, and the mesoderm, which is the middle layer. Alright, now we can get back to our ladder. As previously mentioned, when going down the ladder, the ability to differentiate into multiple kinds of cells will decrease. At the very top of the ladder, we have totipotent stem cells. They divide into any cell in the organism. This cell can make structures inside and outside of the embryo. For example, the zygote, which is formed after a sperm fertilizes an egg, can develop into any cell in any of the 3 germ layers and form a placenta, which is a structure that is outside of the embryo. Next, a pluripotent stem cell can differentiate into any cell of any germ layer but cannot make structures outside of the embryo. Then we have multipotent stem cells, which can specialize in cells of specific lineages. Now, what does this mean exactly? Consider a hematopoietic stem cell, which is an immature cell that can develop into all types of blood cells, including white blood cells, red blood cells, and platelets. Although the cell cannot specialize into any cell of the germ layer, it can specialize into any cell in that lineage. Lastly, there are unipotent stem cells, which can still divide repeatedly, but only form one cell type. So you can think of your body as a sort of culinary institute. Some chefs can make any recipe in the entire cookbook and more. Others stick to the cookbook, and some only know recipes in a specific chapter, and then there are those who only know one recipe. Now, I've thrown a lot of information your way. Here are some of the most important points. Take some time to review the material before going on. There are various medical and ethical challenges that must be overcome before we can realize the potential of stem cells in medicine. The fact a stem cell can be used to make up for any damaged cells is what makes them so useful in medicine. Pluripotent stem cells have yet to be used therapeutically in humans because early animal studies found a tumor called teratoma. Teratomas are a mix of cell types from all early germ layers. Multipotent stem cells, however, have been harvested from bone marrow and used since 1960. In fact, one of the most popular stem cell therapies is multipotent hematopoietic stem cell transplantation. Hematopoietic stem cells are the most thoroughly categorized tissue-specific stem cell, and we mentioned them in our ladder model. This procedure is implemented when there is a malfunction in the blood system, so you're thinking of diseases like leukemia and anemia. Target cells are taken from bone marrow, peripheral blood, or umbilical cord blood. The procedure can occur in one of 3 ways: autologous, where the cells are derived from the patient; allogenic, when a donor will provide cells; and syngeneic, when an identical twin will provide cells. However, this procedure is not without its fault. We have yet to find an efficient way of gathering transplantable cells, and finding a fitting donor also poses an issue. An important aspect of this transplantation is induced pluripotent stem cells. This is artificially inducing a multipotent stem cell to climb up that ladder and differentiate into multiple lineages. The overall procedure is reserved for life-threatening diseases and is quite dangerous. Aside from the gaps of research that we need to fill for these procedures to be more beneficial in medicine, we also have an ethical dilemma in stem cell research and use. We can take pluripotent stem cells from the endoderm, the inner layer of an embryo, to study. However, this process would destroy the embryo. Due to this, human embryonic stem cell research is ethically and politically controversial. There's a debate regarding when human life begins. Some individuals believe an embryo has the same moral recognition as a baby. Others state that the embryo becomes a person in the moral sense after they are fully developed. Many scientists have since adopted the mouse model, which it makes sense because mouses have a lot of similarities in their stem cells to humans, but the differences are enough to block reliable results. I just threw a lot more information your way. Take some time to review the material before going on. Stem cells are used in various fields of medicine, from dentistry to pharmacy. The potential that stem cells have to positively impact the field of medicine and therefore countless lives is unimaginable. The restorative potential of these cells is astounding, but also the study of stem cells allows us to uncover the complex nature of human development as well as stem physiology. These discoveries will open doors to possibly solving many more incurable diseases. Furthermore, as we expand our knowledge on stem cells, we can find solutions to medical concerns such as, and hold up, this is a lot, birth defects, cancer, macular degeneration, strokes, osteoarthritis, neurodegenerative diseases, and diabetes. The property of stem cells to be induced to become a specific type of cell that is required to repair damaged or destroyed tissues solves the issue of lack of transplantable tissues and organs. Due to this technique, it can be possible to generate a healthy heart muscle cells and later transplant them to patients with heart disease. This was actually a study conducted on rats that worked very well. Stem cells are one of the many topics in modern medicine that hold potential for solving problems that currently seem incurable. The study in this research will impact countless lives, maybe even those around you. There are more links about the research of stem cells in the description below. Until next time, stay curious.